fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? Welcome to What the Fuck Are You Reading with Kali and Kaci,
a podcast and book club for all of the book lovers and shit talkers.
Hey, Kaci.
Hi.
Whew, I feel like I'm having an emotional hangover from the Book of Azrael, but aren't you glad that we get to move on today?
Yes, and I'm so glad with the complete genre switch up. We are going a completely different direction.
Yes, I am excited about it. But first, let's talk about our What the Fuck Happened segment.
Yes, I'm actually looking forward to this one because it's another personal story, guys.
Yes, y'all are really going to have to start sending us some stories before.
Yeah, because we are exposing all of our fucking drama.
So, I'm trying to think how old I was. I must have been around 15, 16.
Yeah.
Which would have made you 7 or 8 at the time.
Sounds about right, yeah.
And my mom was gone that night, and I was supposed to make sure that Kaci took a bath before she went to bed. And, my mama didn't play around.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if y'all were raised by a woman that when she said something, if it didn't get done, the rest of your week was going to be ass.
So Kaci fell asleep, and I had to wake her up and tell her to go take a bath. So, she was hard to wake up, but she gets up. She goes, she sits in the bathtub, and she pisses in the bathtub. And I'm like, Kaci, what are you doing? What the fuck, man?
You were probably being so mean, too. You were probably like, you stupid ass.
Take a bath. And Kaci looks like deer in headlights at me, through me, and says, they're coming. And I'm like, what? What do you mean? What's coming? Mind you, we are alone,
in the middle of the woods in a trailer.
And she starts screaming behind me. And so I turn around, obviously I don't see anything, but I'm like, God, is there a ghost, a demon? What is it that she's saying? She starts screaming bloody murder and goes and hides in the bathroom and basically looking like things are crawling up the walls.
Didn't I say they were coming under the doors or something?
Yes, that they were coming under the door, and I'm freaking the fuck out because
who is they?
Yes, who is they? And finally, I turn around and just fucking slap the shit out of her to try to get her out of whatever. And that was the start of Kaci's night terrors.
Yes, that was my first of many.
Anytime you woke Kaci up from a dead sleep, when she should still be asleep, she would have these horrific night terrors that were so terrifying because she made you feel like they were absolutely real. And it was always that something was coming to get you.
And the crazy thing is, so obviously I was young enough that my memory might be a little distorted, but I truly remember seeing a figure standing where you said I was staring, which you don't know the layout of our bathroom, but across the room was the toilet. And I remember someone staying so freaky. Needless to say, my mom paid someone else to babysit me the rest of that summer because Kaylee refused.
So,
okay, what book we doing today?
We are going to be getting into Icebreaker. Who wrote Icebreaker? I didn't write that down. Okay, I don't know. You figure it out. Icebreaker.
Look it up.
So, we meet Anastasia, and she's at practice, hungover with her coach, Aubrey Brady, and she's giving her hell. She is an ice skater at the University of California in Maple Hills, which is fictional, in case you were wondering. And her partner is Aaron Carlisle. Coach Brady is an absolute drill sergeant. Anastasia is struggling to land a quadruple Lutz, whatever the fuck that is, and probably no chance in hell that she'll ever get it. Anastasia rarely indulges in food or alcohol, but her best friend's 21st birthday was the night before, so she's there hungover. She's dating this guy named Ryan. I say dating.
She's
really
openly just fucking this guy.
Definitely more of a friends with benefits.
Yes.
He's a basketball player. Her best friend is Lola, and she, Anastasia, and Aaron all live together. Lola is studying performing arts. Aaron and Anastasia are both only children. but Lola comes from a large family and she's the youngest and the only girl. The basketball team is having a party at Ryan's place, so he asks if he can go to Anastasia's, and her roommates are okay with that, and they're going to go to the party, and it sounds like Anastasia's just going to stay behind and get fucked. She does, and she really enjoys it.
Hell yeah.
But they're just friends. So then we meet Nathan. Nathan is waking up next to a stranger. Wait, not exactly a stranger, but a raging bitch that he knows named Kitty Vincent.
Kitty is like a weird name for someone like my age. Like, no offense to anyone. That just seems so weird.
She stays in bitch character and tells him to quit staring at her and to get her an Uber. And he is not offended at all, just thankful that she's going to leave. Nathan's a senior at the same college as Anastasia. His best friend's name is Robbie, who he met because Robbie's dad was the coach of the local ice hockey team where they grew up. Nathan lives with Robbie and a couple other of his teammates on the ice hockey team. And it sounds like Robbie is in a wheelchair, but no details yet.
Okay.
Nathan asks his roommates why the fuck they let him have sex with Kitty Vincent. And they plead the fifth, actually loving that they have something to give him shit about. So Nathan was drafted to the NHL, I guess that's the National Hockey League.
It is.
Right out of high school, but he chose to pursue an education in case the hockey thing didn't work out.
We are hockey fans in this house, so
I don't know shit about hockey.
Go Avs. Anyways.
Oh, fuck. I couldn't name a hockey team. So all it takes is one injury to end a career. So he is studying sports medicine and still unsure if that's what he wants to do. His dad isn't on board with college out of state or with professional hockey. He wants him to stay home and learn the family business, which is ski resorts. But that's not the life for Nathan.
Oh, so Nathan got money.
Nathan got a lot of money. And now he's the team captain, and it's a lot of work keeping his teammates in line.
Mm-hmm.
So Robbie is in a wheelchair because of a skiing accident their junior year of high school. He never regained the use of his legs.
Aww.
Now he's the hockey coach's assistant. So Nathan and the rest of the team get an email from their coach, Coach Faulkner, saying to meet up in the awards room, which is not good. It's usually where they get in trouble. The baseball team has also been summoned, but for 30 minutes after the hockey team. And so it's like they're bringing everybody in rounds.
Okay.
So when they gather, the coach says he has never been so ashamed. Someone has smashed the generator and cooling system in their rink. And coach obviously thinks that one of them had something to do with it. And someone is going to pay. And by that, I mean probably get kicked off the team. Russ, another teammate, is looking real guilty. The team is having a meeting with every student athlete, the dean is, to try to get to the bottom of this. Like, why did this get smashed?
Like what happened?
Anastasia's plans for the day are ruined because she is also being summoned to the meeting about the vandalism. So she runs into Ryan while she's trying to get into the awards room, along with every other student athlete on campus. And they seem quite familiar for just friends. Didn't you think so?
Yeah, it was more of like a best friend situation. They just happened to have sex.
They'd been hooking up since they met the previous year at a party. So the director of sport comes out to give them their talking to once they're all seated. And he doesn't go into what happened, but is very condescending and tells them that there will be zero tolerance policy from now on for misbehavior.
Okay.
So,
like, what was the misbehavior? Like, your generator is smashed.
Well, somebody smashed it.
Yeah, I know, but Anastasia's like 110 pounds. What the fuck is she doing smashing a generator?
When he's done, he tells the skating and hockey teams to stay behind, but dismisses everyone else. He lets them know that one of their skating arenas is completely out of commission, so it will be quite a while before it's ready to be used again. So the ice skaters and hockey players will have to share a rink. So here we go. This is how Nate and Anastasia are meeting up. So some call her Stassi. Anastasia is a very hard name to give a nickname to.
Which I think is so cute. They call her like Stas and Stassi.
Fuck, I've been saying Stas and Stassi, but whatever. Fuck! Again?
Igmorathins.
Oh, God. Igmorathins.
Igmorathins.
So Stassi is irate. Because I read the fucking book. I didn't listen to it. She has regionals in 5 weeks. Plus, it was probably one of the hockey players that caused the trouble in the first place.
You're not wrong.
So Nate sees how upset she is and apologizes to her, saying he'll try to make this as stress-free as possible. And Anastasia doesn't know him and isn't exactly friendly, but he invites her to his party that night anyway.
Okay.
So Nate grabs Russ, which is his suspect for all of the damage that's done to the rink,
Okay.
and tells him they need to talk now. And Russ tries to shake him off, but Nate threatens to embarrass him in front of the team, so he listens and goes to Nate's room. When Nate goes to talk to Russ, Russ tells him he's been talking to this girl who ended up having a boyfriend. When the boyfriend found out, he sent Russ a message saying he was going to regret even looking at her.
Oh, fuck.
And that must be what happened to the rink.
Uh-huh.
Nate tells him not to tell anyone else but him and sends him back to the party. Nate's hoping for a chance with this girl, Summer, who has rejected him multiple times.
Okay. Which is crazy because the way they describe Nate, he sounds so fine.
And probably the only reason he does want her is because she has rejected him.
Yeah, true.
Like, men love a chase.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know if I can get behind Stasia's nickname, but Anastasia is a fucking mouthful when you have to say it so many times. But anyway, she's grumpy, probably because she's counting every calorie that goes into her mouth, and I cannot get behind that either. But she needs the bathroom, and there's a long line, so Nate tells her she can use his private one. So he waits in his room for her, and when she comes out, they talk a little. He's from Colorado, she's from Seattle. They're not exactly flirting, but they are kind of bantering. When they go back down the stairs together, Aaron is staring daggers at them, and Nate assumes that he's her boyfriend. But that's her partner.
Okay,
Aaron.
so throughout this book, it doesn't ever really say what his sexuality is. But, like, you telling me that a male ice skater is not a gay man?
It does say that he is hooking up with a girl at one point.
Oh, that is true.
But, no, he never, like, dates or anything. And as far as I know, he's not interested in Anastasia.
I know, but, like,
But
he
he's
is obsessed
psycho
with
to
her.
Anastasia.
Yes. Okay, anyways. Sorry if that was a spoiler.
Stassi introduces the two, but it's more like a dick measuring contest. I say this a lot. Like, in every
You
book we
do.
have, they're having a dick measuring contest.
Yes.
So maybe Aaron actually is into her and she hasn't realized it yet, but Aaron's being an ass and asks her if she's collecting team captains or something. And
What an asshole.
Nate tells her he can leave if he's going to be a dick. And Aaron says he knows why the rink got trashed, that one of the hockey rookie players knocked up someone's little sister and ghosted her.
Fuck.
Which is not what Russ told us. But now Anastasia's pissed because Nate swore he didn't know what happened, and it seems like he does. So they're not off to a good start. Anastasia blows up and storms out. She leaves Lola to get a ride with her arch nemesis, Olivia Abbott. And I say arch nemesis because that's how Lola describes her. She doesn't seem bad, though. Like, she actually seems kind of nice. But Lola hates her because she's another performing arts major and gets all the good parts because she's better.
Yeah, well.
You know, it happens. So I'm thinking it's not going to go over well that Stassi left her, but we shall see. So also Ryan was chatting up this Olivia, and Anastasia does not seem the slightest bit concerned. Like, no jealousy there. She really does not have feelings for Ryan because I would be so fucking jealous.
I was about to say, I'm not a fuck with no feelings type of bitch. I cannot.
The next morning, Anastasia goes to work. She teaches skating lessons on Saturdays to kids. Ryan brings her lunch. He seems to be feeling her out to see if she'll be okay, like with him dating someone else, like before he pursues things with Olivia. And she encourages him to pursue Olivia, and he encourages her not to hold a grudge against Nate. But hold a grudge, she absolutely is. Aaron has made Nate's life a living hell for 3 weeks. He told anyone who would listen about his version of why the rink got trashed. Nate's coach found out, and he's spent more time being screamed at than actually practicing. The girl is pregnant, but it's not Russ's, thank God. Coach is pissed regardless and threatening to bench the next person who does anything irresponsible.
Okay.
So this means Nate is on his best behavior. He wants to go pro, and he's not going to get there by being expelled. Nate has a terrible relationship with his father and doesn't want to go back home to the family skiing business. He has a younger sister who is a skiing prodigy, which is much more to his dad's liking. But his dad hates hockey with a passion.
Imagine being upset that your son is playing hockey and going to be professional hockey player.
The only thing I could understand maybe if his dad was a dentist, like, you're gonna fuck your teeth up.
Well, he's not. He owns ski resorts and he's a dickhead.
So Nate is throwing Robbie a surprise birthday party. I say it in quotes because Robbie asked him to do it, so it's not much of a surprise. And Robbie wants Lola there. They hooked up at that party and they've been talking. So now Nate needs to figure out how to get her to the party. So too bad you got off on the wrong foot with Stassi. My guy. The hockey team is technically having to practice in the ice skaters arena, so they're working around the skaters' schedule, which completely is fucking everybody's practices up. Stassi is still completely ignoring Nate except to shoot him a death glare every once in a while, but he does think that she's hot. Nate snags her as she's finishing practice and asks her to please get Lola to Robbie's party. She's not excited, but for Lola, she will. It's going to be a black tie affair, Vegas themed, which does not seem like it would work for a college party.
Yeah, not at all.
But okay. Nate still hates Aaron, not just because of him being rude at the party and running his mouth about Russ, but also how he talks to Stassi on the ice. Stassi. He is very condescending to her. Now, Aaron stops Nate after he's done talking to Anastasia and tells him he's wasting his time, that she's not going to fuck him. And I'm like, this guy, like, what's his fucking problem? So the ice skaters and hockey players are going to be doing 2 hours of team building activities together because the dean insists because of how clearly they have not been getting along.
Yeah.
They're going to get to know each other like speed dating style. The skaters sitting at tables and the hockey team rotating every 5 minutes. Stassi goes through several of these dates uneventfully. They chat, some try to get her number, it's no big deal, but Lola has given her strict instructions to try and find out from Robbie if their talking is going anywhere.
Okay. Girl code.
Yeah. Luckily, all he wants to talk about is Lola, so there's definitely something there. Nate is the very last of her dates, and he asks her for a fresh start. She basically tells him she'll try to stop hating him, but he's on probation.
Okay.
So it's the night of Robbie's party. One of his teammates asks if Nate thinks Anastasia and Lola will come, and he says he hopes so. The Icebreaker shit worked, and y'all know I love when I come across the title of a book in a book.
Yes. There's this one episode of Family Guy that they're at the movies, and Peter, the main character, when they say it in the movie, he starts screaming, "They said it! They said it!" And every time they do it, I think of that episode.
To me, it's like putting the last piece of a puzzle in.
Yeah.
So Lola and Stas do come. Lola and Robbie are really hitting it off, and Nate wants to be really hitting it off with Anastasia. He gives her his tux jacket when she gets cold, and they start bantering again. Her thing is to be a little bitchy with a smile on her face. And
same girl.
Same, honestly. She asks him to teach her poker. Then she wins $200 off of him. So she clearly already knew how to play. She needs the bathroom, so he brings her back to his private room again. And can I just say how fucking nervous this would make me? Like, what if he hears her pee?
Be like, can you play some music or something?
Like, what if she farts or something? Like,
turning on the faucet.
Absolutely not. But she is absolutely flirting. She walks in front of him on the stairs, and he puts his hands on her waist as she goes up to keep her from falling in her heels. Like,
that's hot.
That's pretty hot. When she comes out, they talk again, and he's pretty much begging her to forgive him. And she makes a little comment about how the only time she wants a man on his knees is with his face between her legs. So, like, yeah, she is definitely into
went
him
right
too.
there.
And he is realizing it. And he says, "You don't have to like me to scream my name."
God damn, I just wanted to use the bathroom.
Okay, tell me more, Nate. Yeah, she just got done pissing, but whatever.
I'm gonna go back in there for a second. Give me a minute.
She's playing hard to get, but like not that hard to get.
Not that hard at all, actually.
They kiss. She says she crushes her mouth against his, which does not sound like the most pleasant kiss. But, like, it gets real fucking spicy real quick. Like, we go from kiss on the mouth to him on his knees kissing her no-no square.
Period.
They don't even lay down. She's just against the wall with one leg hooked over his shoulder, and naturally she didn't have any underwear on, so he's just got his face all up in her crotch immediately.
Okay.
It is mind-blowing, of course.
Of course it is.
Not much more to say about that.
Okay.
A few days go by. Anastasia and Ryan are now only friends, no benefits, because he's he's going to try dating Olivia exclusively, but he still spent the night with Stas last night and watched a movie. And I have to say, as Olivia, absolutely not.
Fucking-lutely not.
I ain't getting exclusive with a guy who spends the night with someone that he's had sex with.
Mhm.
Period. So Lola bangs on Anastasia's door. She brings in a box but says she has to open it on a video call. It's from Nate. So, like, how fucking awkward is this? She's getting a gift and a FaceTime from Nate.
And hasn't talked
With-
to him since he was eating her out.
Robbie and JJ, two other hockey players, are in the back of Nate's video, and she's laying in the bed with Ryan.
Oh my god, I would fucking die.
And all I could think was, like, college is so weird this generation.
Yes.
So it's a hockey jersey that he gives her.
Aw.
Yay. I would be so fucking excited for this.
Mm-hmm.
Just kidding. I would not give a fuck if somebody gave me a hockey jersey. Like,
No, but like it probably says his name. You aren't into sports and shit.
No,
Never mind. I would be
this.
so fucking excied.
yeah, that is not my kind of gift.
When my high school boyfriend let me wear his Letterman, oh my god, I had the big dick.
Well, we know he didn't.
Anyways, carry on.
So she tells Ryan and Lola about what happened between her and Nate at the party. The two of them decide that Anastasia should definitely fuck him for science.
For science.
Mhm. So Nathan plans to catch Anastasia after training on Friday and figure out where they stand. His dad has been blowing up his phone, but he hasn't answered. And we find out that Nate's mom passed away when he was younger, which really sucks because he does not have a good relationship with his dad at all. So Nate gets to Anastasia's training session a little early to wait on her and sees her completely smash into the wall trying to land her quadruple lutz or whatever. So she's bleeding from the head, and he insists that he's going to give her some first aid and take her to the hospital. And she lets him, like, pick her up and carry her to the first aid room.
I'm sure she does.
He tends to her, but she refuses to go to the hospital after. So no meaningful conversation about the two of them is happening that day. So the next day, Aaron and Stas compete, and they do well. It's also the hockey team's first game, and they win. Lola insists that she and Anastasia are going to go out with the team that night to celebrate. And they're going to a very popular and exclusive club. She's going to put what happened behind her and just enjoy the night. So Nathan's new strategy with Anastasia is to play hard to get. So he greets her, but then goes on to a booth planning to let her come to him. And he pretty much just sits in the booth and watches her creepily. So she comes to the booth and sits on this other guy's lap. And I think Nathan's hard to get plan may be over because he's fucking jealous. And he gets up and asks her to dance. And he doesn't actually know how to dance, but he lets her grind on him. And she's got this guy extremely worked up. He don't want to be in the club. He wants to be in the bedroom.
He wants to be inside of her.
Mm-hmm. Lola comes up behind them when they're getting ready to kiss and asks if they're ready to go.
Yep.
So they all get in an Uber together. Stassi is on Nate's lap, wiggling around enough to get him aroused, of course. And you just got done dancing and rubbing your ass all over him, and now you sit on his lap and you expect his dick not to get hard? Like, no.
I don't think that she expected that. I think she knew exactly what she was doing.
So he's touching all over her in the back seat of this Uber, filled with other people, I might add. Which I sound like a prude right now, but like she also mentions that his hot breath is on her neck, and I am absolutely disgusted. Do not breathe on me.
Kaylee has been very clear about how she feels about breath.
Do not ever breathe on me. I am not into that. So they start making out, and their drunk friends don't seem to notice. He gets half his hand inside of her and starts going to town. And I'm just saying, like, no, he says it was just 2 fingers, but they're hockey fingers.
They're hockey fingers. And she's a tiny girl.
Yeah, so I bet they're really big.
Hockey fingers.
She's literally screaming in the back of this Uber, and I cannot.
Filled with
this
people.
Girl. Yes. Then he sticks his dirty ass fingers in her mouth and like, no, absolutely
I
not.
can fucking not.
She has been at the fucking club sweating all night.
Oh
no. So anyway, she goes back to Nate's. They finally gonna for real consummate this situationship, I think, except when she gets to his door, she puts in the code to Ryan's room instead of his room. And it really pisses him off.
Oh.
So they don't have sex. He tells her that he wants her to want him when she's sober, and he doesn't want her avoiding him again. So she waits until he falls asleep, and then she gets up. and goes home.
Except she didn't fucking go home.
She slept in
His roommate's room.
Oh my god. Which cracks me up because
Is
Nate
this-
is already jealous. That was Henry.
I was gonna say, is this Henry? Because I'm a big Henry fan.
Yes. So, not that I think they did anything, it's just funny to me.
Mm-hmm.
So, Henry slept on an air mattress and she slept in his bed. And Nate goes to talk to her, explaining that he had been jealous. And she uncomfortably explains to him that she does not want commitment. Later that week, the hockey practice is eating into Anastasia's training time. Am I pronouncing Anastasia wrong too?
No.
Okay. So she just goes out on the ice and starts training among the hockey players, just like skating around in between them. So she's just bebopping around, and Nate tries to chase her down so she doesn't accidentally get hurt. And he finally catches her and throws her over his shoulder and gets her off the ice. And she's pissed. She's throwing a temper tantrum, blah, blah, blah. Like, she's boring me. She tells Nate that she has plans tonight, and if she doesn't get started training, she'll be late. And he texts her later and asks her what her plans are. Stalker?
No, he's just so into her, he can't.
She tells him if he can find her before midnight, she'll let him fuck that pretty little mouth of hers.
Oh my fucking god.
His quote from the other night on what he'd like to do to her. And that's some motivation. If he wasn't stalking her before, I'm sure he will be now.
Yeah, no joke. Peeking in windows and shit.
Mm-hmm. So he's looking everywhere for her, blowing up her phone, trying to get her to give him some hints about where she is, but it's almost midnight and he hasn't found her yet. So right before midnight, she FaceTimes him and pans around the room, and she's in his fucking bedroom. He's been searching everywhere all over town for her, and she is at a party at his place. His teammates help set it up.
Which is hilarious.
Fucking douchebags. Guy friendships are so much different than girl friendships.
Uh-huh.
So he doesn't make it before midnight, but when he does, he takes another girl up to his room. Like,
oh my
touche.
god.
So
with
now-
her still in his room?
Well, no, she's downstairs at the party, but now she's jealous.
Uh-huh.
So 10 minutes later, the girl comes down and Stas barges up into his room, demanding to know what the fuck that was. He says the girl just needed his bathroom, but calls her out on her jealousy.
Mm-hmm.
And they're immediately all over each other. And he asks if he can fuck her, to which she's like, yeah. And so he strips
We
down
love
to his-
consent.
Yes, he strips down to his boxers, and naturally he has like this ungodly large penis.
Let me guess, a third leg. Jesus.
We don't have any just like average guys
Yeah,
out
no
there in any of
shit.
these books, because of course he does. And what kind of book would this be if he was like shrimp dicking or even like just average size?
Oh.
So she goes into detail about how salty tasting it is, and I literally gagged while I was reading it.
I can't.
No. Ooh. Then she swallows, and I've had enough, to be honest. It's just not gonna do it for me. So he's a trooper, though, gets hard again in like 2.2 seconds, and they do finally have sex. And I don't feel like I have to go into super detail there. They're doing all the ways, all the directions that you can go.
And in the book, they go in so much detail. I'm like, please, please spare me.
Anyway, they shower together after, and I know I'm old, but like, man, like this generation is getting real comfortable real quick. Like, I want to shower alone. I do not want like this massive Hulk-sized man in the shower
in
with me.
his, college room size fucking shower.
Mhm. So it is kind of sweet. So sweet though when they're laying in bed together, and he's thinking to himself about how he can make her not want to do this with anyone else.
No.
And I'm thinking like she's a champ if she's doing this with multiple people.
Yeah.
So the next morning, Stas is bitching because Nathan covered her with hickeys, but you weren't worried about that last night, were you?
Gross.
She uses a term I've never heard, but that I like. I'm going to try to start adding it into everyday conversation.
God, what is it?
She's dickmatized.
I've used that term before.
She acts like she doesn't have the time of day for him, saying she's busy every night, but finally agrees to meet him like 5 days later to go shop for a Halloween costume. So, and I'm thinking, like, you just said you were dickmatized. Like, now you can't see him for 5 days?
Yeah.
Like, you're in college. What the fuck else do you have to do?
Skate. And count her calories.
He texts her and asks if he can pick her up from work that day. So she doesn't have to wait 5 days. Like, she's going to let him pick her up from work. So she gets deep with him and tells him that she was adopted and was always afraid her parents wouldn't want her if she didn't excel at everything. Even though, like, her parents aren't like that at all, she has severe anxiety, and planning every moment of her life helps her control it. She gets home, and Aaron spots her hickeys, and he's pissed.
Ugh.
So go fuck yourself, Aaron. Like, she's grown. And he continues to pout about it all week. So it's affecting their skating too. They are out of sync and they are competing again in 2 weeks. And Nate suggests that instead of going shopping, why don't they go to his place, shop online, order takeout, and she can avoid Aaron for the night. And she accepts, and they play house for that night. She's eating bad food she never indulges in, and him eating her, basically. The next night's Halloween, and they're going back to the club. The hockey team is dressed up like minions, except for Nate, who is Gru, and
That is
Robbie.
hilarious.
Robbie is someone else who I don't know because it's been so long since I've seen the damn movie. But anyway, Stas goes as one of the hockey guys, but she goes as not Nate. She goes in someone else's jersey.
That is hilarious.
In JJ's jersey with thigh-high boots on. And Nate does not appreciate that. He drags her into the bathroom and rips it off of her. And luckily, she has a cheerleading outfit underneath, but she does some pretty flexible moves where she gets both of her legs over his shoulders while they're both standing up. Okay. So they're like up against a wall and both of her legs are over his shoulder. She's bent
Are
in
they like
half.
having sex?
Yeah, she's bent in half.
Okay, I was about to say, like, why is she doing that?
So after that, they go back to a booth and Aaron comes walking up clutching his arm. And Anastasia asks him what's wrong, and he tells her to ask her boyfriend.
God.
Oh, shit. So what did Nate do? Nate swears he didn't touch him, and Anastasia is devastated because they won't be able to compete at sectionals. So is Aaron really fucking that petty that he would make it up?
Yeah.
Because that's fucked up.
Yeah.
The rest of the hockey team also insist that they didn't touch him. But the story is that something was on the floor outside of only Aaron's locker and that he slipped and fell on his arm. And the kicker is that he told his coach that someone saw Nate do it. And so now the
Conveniently.
The hockey team is in trouble again. So coach calls the team for a meeting and tells them they're all off the team until someone admits who did it. Nate comes forward and said that it was him, which I assume he's just taking the blame for it, but who fucking knows. Coach doesn't believe him, but nobody else was ever going to come forward, so Nate taking the blame will have him off the team temporarily, but hopefully not too long. But Nate's punishment is that he can play when Aaron can skate again.
Aww.
Aaron hasn't broken anything, which is a plus, but it's looking like 2 weeks minimum. So Nate goes to Stassi's to try and talk to her. Unfortunately, Ryan is there holding her while she sobs, and she doesn't want to hear what Nate has to say. She goes to kick him out, but he has a migraine, and the nausea and light sensitivity is kicking in, so he ain't going nowhere. He stays at her place. So Aaron gets cleared to skate in time for the competition. He's been smothering Anastasia and loving having her back to himself. Like, what a prick. After Nate got sick with the migraine and a couple of his teammates came to pick him up, and they tried to convince her that there's no way that he's the one that hurt Aaron. Anastasia doesn't know who to believe, but she hasn't heard from Nate in 2 weeks, and she is missing him.
Oh.
And Nate's feeling just as bad. So fucking call her.
Literally.
Shit. Anastasia and Aaron do get to compete, but he fucking drops her during their routine. Aaron's wrist gave out, and he drops her. So Aaron's back to not skating, and Nate is back off the hockey team. Nate goes to see her. She's glad to see him, but depressed in every other way. So luckily, they still managed to qualify for the next round, even with the fall. So not all of her dreams are crushed. He just holds her and lets her cry.
No.
They wake up together the next morning, and he tells her, "You have no idea, do you? The lengths I'd go to if you'd let me. What I'd do to make you happy."
Oh.
And I like that.
Yeah, same.
That's very sweet. The verdict on Aaron's new injury is 8 weeks. He's going to be out for 8 weeks.
I hate him.
That's also when nationals are, so he won't be able to practice ahead of time. And Nate is out of hockey for that long, too.
Mm-hmm.
Anastasia does believe that Nate isn't the one who hurt Aaron, but Aaron's convinced it was him. So he's going to make everyone's life a living hell because of it.
I hate a friend like that.
It's about to get a lot worse, too, I bet, because Nathan begs Stassi to let him skate with her and help her train, since he can't be on the hockey team right now. And she's reluctant, but does end up saying yes. And Aaron is going to be fucking pissed about it. Anastasia insists they can't be sleeping together if they're going to train together, though.
Okay.
So the plot
She can't mix business with pleasure?
Nope.
I found my husband at business, so.
His coach is okay with the plan, but does call him the most bizarre kid he's ever had to tolerate and to enjoy wearing leggings. Which cracked me up.
But like, he's a huge hockey player, putting him in some leggings.
With a huge dick.
With a third leg.
Yeah. Then we find out something that's really fucked up. We already knew that Aaron was controlling and jealous, but Nate looks at the diet plan that Aaron has her on, and it's not right. Like, she's not eating near enough. Like, not enough protein, almost zero
So
calories.
he's like starving her out.
Like, this dude is intentionally starving her.
Jesus.
Aaron also tells her that he struggles to lift her if she veers off the diet. And Nate knows it's bullshit because he's seen him in the gym. So it's just super fucked up. He's given her severe, like, food issues.
Yeah, body dysmorphia, and he can lift double her weight in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
Asshole.
So Nate and Stassi start training together, and he's sore in muscles he didn't know he had. Anastasia nicely asks Aaron about the meal plan thing, and he just absolutely blows up. Like, he is fucking ugly on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Says she sucks some guy's dick a couple times, and all of a sudden he knows everything. So anyway, I hate him.
Yep.
She goes to Nate's again after her fight with Aaron. She is not dealing with his shit tonight or any night for a while. The next chapter picks up, and she's been at Nate's for 2 weeks. So I'm like, okay, she just moved right on in, didn't she?
Shit.
They're sticking to the not having sex thing, though, which is good for my notes. Nate's dad shows up to his house, and I would say out of nowhere, except that Nate's been screening his calls for, like, ever.
Yeah.
So it's not completely out of nowhere. If my kid didn't answer the phone for weeks, like, I would 100% show up on their doorstep. But
not there yet, but yeah, Gigi, same.
Mm-hmm. I can just see her. So what he wants is for Nate to talk to his little sister because she's threatening to quit skiing. Sorry. They get in an argument, and Nate tells his dad that she probably just wants him to pay attention to her and not only care about the skiing, and Dad leaves. They're not close. Dad's an asshole. The ski resorts are his whole world, and Nate didn't conform to that, so he doesn't really have anything to do with Nate.
Yeah. You're a professional hockey player. You fucking suck.
His sister did conform, but it's heavy to feel like the only reason her dad pays attention to her is because she's skiing.
Mm-hmm. She's also only like 15 or 16 years old, so she kind of has to.
Mm-hmm. Anastasia now has this, like, mental block up about doing lifts since Aaron dropped her. So, and Nate's trying to get her comfortable with it again, but she's just refusing to even try.
Wait, you just reminded me of something. Do you know what the yips are?
No.
You don't know what that means?
No.
Okay, I'm, like, so amazed by the amount of people that don't know what that means. So, like, when you get a mental block in golf, it's called the yips. Like, somebody has
why
the
do
yips.
you need your mental in golf?
It's like a huge mental
The fuck? You swing at the ball. It goes.
Okay, but, like, whatever. Anyways, I didn't know that people didn't know what the word yips meant, and I basically called, like, 8 people at my mother-in-law's house the other day fucking idiots because they didn't know that, and so I'm telling this story to Mom, and Mom's like, I don't know what that means.
Please comment if you know what yips are.
In gymnastics, it's called the twisties. Okay, anyways, carry on.
Okay. Whatever. So after practice, Aaron shows up and asks to talk to her, and she's expecting an apology at the very least, but instead he tells her how angry he's been with her for moving out of his place and in with the guy who hurt him. Like, he's a real fucking narcissist.
Yeah, I can't stand him.
They don't make up, but do end the conversation saying they're going to have to work this out because they're partners.
Yeah.
So Nate's dad takes his advice and books a trip for him and Nate's sister over Christmas break. And he offers for Nate to go, but Nate would rather die.
Yeah.
At least his dad listened to him, though. I think that says something. So to help Stassi's fear of doing lifts, she and Nate go to practice in a pool. And they're nailing everything, and she's getting more comfortable. She's in a thong bikini, obviously.
Of course she is.
Because when you're not sleeping with your skate partner that you're probably in love with, you should definitely be around them with as little clothing as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So ridiculous.
Literally.
Stas is thinking about visiting the family for Christmas, but she's super anxious about it, her family. And she hasn't been home in a long time. She misses them, but I don't know, something just keeps her from making the trip.
Mm-hmm.
Nate suggests that he go with her, and then they'll go to his family's place. And his dad and sister won't be there because they'll be on vacation, so they could have it all to themselves, which sounds really good to her.
Mm-hmm.
So they break their no sex pact and go like full raw dog. And am I using that term correctly?
Raw dog?
Yeah.
Like no condom?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
I did not know how not first you were in this age sex talk.
Look, I'm a millennial. This is full Gen Z. I don't know what you're in.
I'm in between those two things.
So, Merry Christmas, Nate. She wouldn't tell her what she wanted, so she gets condomless sex. But she is on birth control.
Oh, good.
So they throw a Christmas party at Nate's house, and everybody's drinking, and eventually Stas falls asleep on Nate's lap. She wakes up to everybody yelling because there's a fight. Nate dumps her in a chair and tells her to stay there, and then rushes toward the action.
And let me guess, she does not stay there.
Would you fucking stay there?
No, I wouldn't. I used to date a guy that fought.
That's what I put in here, so I'm running toward the fight. What about you? So Nathan has Aaron, pinned up against the wall by his throat. And first of all, why is Aaron even there? He hates the whole hockey team, and they all hate him. So
I'm pro beat the shit out of Aaron, though, so hell yeah.
So Nate was actually just breaking up a fight between Aaron and some other guys, and Anastasia is not as upset as I expected her to be. I think Nathan's more pissed at her for not staying put like he told her to. But the reason Nate was choking Aaron out was to break up a fight between Aaron and sweet little Henry.
Oh, sweet Henry.
Henry was beating the shit out of Aaron because of something he said about Stas. Apparently, Aaron is always talking shit about her. This is her partner. He just keeps getting better and better. Why are you friends with people like that? Nathan promises to tell her everything that Aaron says about her the next morning. The next morning, before we even get to that conversation, they become official and start dating, officially dating.
Oh.
And I'm thinking, bitch, y'all have been exclusively fucking each other for 3
Y'all are
months.
living together.
I think y'all were already living together. You're fucking dating, for fuck's sake. That's what I put.
For fuck's sake.
So Nate and Stas get Henry, and she demands to know what Dickweed said about her. And it's ugly. He's been telling everyone that she just wants to latch onto an athlete who will go pro because she's never going to make it as a skater. And lots of slut shaming. And the worst part is that he said no one would be able to love her, even her own parents couldn't. And the parents who bought her only want her to fill up her trophy cabinet.
Fuck him.
That's when Henry punched him.
As he should.
And I don't think that friendship is going to recover.
Yeah.
So Stas brings Nate to meet her family in Seattle. Everybody loves everybody, blah, blah, boring. They go to Nate's dad's next and have the place to themselves as promised. And it's a mansion, of course. He's rich, he's tall, he's gorgeous, he's got a huge dick. Nobody gets this many fucking blessings in life.
And he's a good guy.
Yes. So they're both fighting an inner dialogue to tell the other, I love you. So just get it over with. So we find out that the main reason Nate hates his dad is because his dad was cheating on his mom with a much younger ski instructor while his mom was dying.
Dying of cancer! That is so terrible.
Then when Robbie had his skiing accident and got paralyzed at his dad's resort, he refused to pay any of the medical bills, even though he's rich as fuck.
Yes. Oh, yeah, and isn't that story him and Nate fell off of a ski lift? Nate was with him and fell also, but Robbie
I don't know if that's I do remember them saying that, but I don't know if that's whenever he got paralyzed. But we already know that he's sucky, but he's, like, really fucking sucky. So Stas goes out to skate on the frozen lake behind Nate's dad's alone while Nate is out running some secret errand.
And, oh, surprise, what do we think is gonna happen?
He calls her and tells her it's not safe to skate by the edge, but too late because the ice cracks and she falls right through.
While she's on the phone with him.
At least something happened that I could write about.
That's so true. No plot until she falls through the icebreaker.
Yeah. So he races out to her, crawling along the ice where it thins so he won't fall through too. He gets her out of the water and she's not breathing. So he does CPR until she starts sputtering. Then he takes her inside and puts her in the shower to get warm. And that's when I know that this author did zero medical research or just didn't give a shit about the accuracy of what she was writing. Because if you do real CPR on someone, you break their ribs. Period.
Yeah.
Like, you're not okay after.
And, like, I feel like putting somebody that could possibly have hypothermia in a warm shower is not a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, he talks about how, like, he kept it kinda lukewarm and whatever, and I don't know, I don't care about that part, but just the fact that he thinks that he's gonna give her CPR and then she's just gonna be, like, A-okay.
All right, you wanna have sex about it?
Mhm. They are having sex on the kitchen island on New Year's Eve, when Nate's sister and dad make it back home.
Oh my
Awkward.
Jesus.
And in the midst of all this, after she falls through the ice and has this near-death experience, they do tell each other, "I love you," because that's
Aw.
all that they could think about.
Yes.
Anyway, so she meets Nate's dad. He's an ass. They go back to college, whatever. When they get back, Stas tells Nate she wants to move back to her apartment because she and Aaron still have to be partners, and she doesn't want to be devastated when Nate moves to Vancouver in 6 months to play hockey, which is a blow to Nate. They don't fight about it, though, really. As much as he hates Aaron, he trusts her judgment. And they've also developed this really annoying fucking nickname that I can't stand.
What was it? Remind me.
They call each other Bub, or she
Oh,
calls
yeah.
him Bub.
Yeah.
Ugh, I'm like, is he your brother or your boyfriend?
No, and, like, because I listened to it through audiobook, it was, like, even the person that was narrating it was like, "I hate this, but I have to say it because the author wrote it," so they'd be like, "I love you, bub."
So Stas decides to move back in with Aaron the week before their competition, and it's pretty much a nightmare. Like, he is shaming her about her weight gain, even though it's been like a healthy muscle gain. And Nate is not being as understanding as he said he was going to be.
Because he hates Aaron too.
Because he's worried and jealous. And Nate finds out from one of Aaron's friends that Aaron hurt his arm playing football while drinking. So that bastard really was setting Nate up the whole time. So Nate gets to Anastasia and Aaron's competition right before they perform, and they fucking nailed it. Do everything truly perfect, but Aaron ruins it by kissing her at the end in front of the whole crowd, Nate, and everybody.
Which I, like, audibly gasped when that happened because what are you talking about? Kissing her.
Stas is bawling, and Nate makes his way to them and punches Aaron in the face. Anastasia tells Aaron and her coach that she will never skate with him again. She's going to go solo.
Good.
Nate ends up winning the, like, national championship or whatever. Go hockey, woo.
Woohoo.
The book ends 2 years later with Stas having won a gold medal in the Olympics.
Aw.
Nate having won a Stanley Cup.
Period.
Didn't even know what that was. Stas is 6 months pregnant with a girl that they're going to name after Nate's mom, who died. They're living together in a beach mansion with a golden retriever puppy and him proposing to her on their baby moon. So it's a little bit too wrapped up for me, but I do like a happy ending.
I do like a happy ending. I also like a book with a plot.
I do like a book that we don't have to spend 6 episodes on, though.
That is very
Or
true.
5.
We did just do that in one episode. But, like, literally her falling through the ice was the only heart-racing part of that book. Like, find one of your friends dead or murder somebody so that you can give me a plot.
So, that was Icebreaker. Thank you, everybody.
Hope y'all enjoyed it.
Bye, fuckers. Thank you for listening. Please leave us a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify.
Go like and subscribe to our channel on YouTube, join our Facebook group, and follow us on Instagram.
The links to everything are available in the show notes.
And 5 stars only. If you have anything less, please turn your phone off and mind your business. Bye, fuckers.